which is the upcoming year, the 5-year, a 3-year, and a 5-year. After that, you're kidding yourself if you can predict in this crazy world. But just make sure that you include that type of stuff. Okay, vision. They want to know that you're not just a one-shot opportunity. You're not coming into the town just to light it up for 1 year. They want to see you're going to be neighbors. You're going to be good neighbors for quite a while if you're talking to the local city councils and the banks and what have you. Okay. There's of course office management, the casting director, the crew director, outside consultants, any freelancers, list all that kind of stuff, right? I've got to say that I'm proud of the work that I do, and I'm fairly expensive. But when I got up to New York and I looked at everything, I went, guys, there's no way you're going to be able to afford my consulting fee. I'll become a partner on this because I have great faith in the venue and the entire deal. So I became a third partner of the whole deal. But what I made the mistake of doing was not knowing what they had already spent on the thing. And then after that, at the tail end of it, we're fighting, oh yeah, they did this. They never had a budget. The right hand didn't know what the left hand's doing. I'm one of those guys where I operate under, I started all this in the nonprofit world, and I still stay in the nonprofit world, even though I operate commercial. Because we used to go out and collect things and drive around and get the old wood and all that kind of stuff. And you know what? I still support that. I really do. It makes it, because he was building, like we do a monster maze, and he built this whole thing out of aluminum framing and viscose. When you can get, especially right after a hurricane in New York, all the free fence you could ever possibly want, and right there, that he must, I think it was like $8,000 he spent just on the hardware, the hardware for the maze. $8,000. Well, I'm 1/3 entitled to that. Okay, so boom, right out. I wish I'd gone through those books. I really wish, because how did we spend $250,000 on what we did? I don't know. So I guess the other point is know who you're going to bed with and where they've been, right? So okay. Your mission, your mission statement, the office phones, the office equipment, all these things that you just may not think of, but man, they're there. Just keep looking around. The insurance we touched on, okay? Then you should have built in, who's your first aid captain? We talked about that. Are you doing training? So you put in your thing. August 18th from 7 to 9, we're doing how to put a Band-Aid on, or how to amputate a foot, or whatever, okay? So put a timeline against this whole thing, right? What I'm sharing with you is a production guideline. It's a production overview. From that, once you get all this stuff done, that's when you make it concise and turn it into your business plan. Business plans we have to have a Band-Aid box made by Johnson & Johnson with 40 count. You don't have to get to that degree. You have to say that the $100 is being dedicated to your first aid kits and that kind of thing. Okay, always overestimate. Don't try to wiggle around that way, because it will only sting you later on. It really will. Operations, your radios, your walkie-talkies. Do you have to pay for a production office? Are you renting an RV? RVs are great production offices when you're out there in the field. That's why movie producers use them so much. Okay? And now, the other thing too is you can list in an area the stuff that you intend to purchase, the stuff that you intend to rent, and the stuff that you intend to have donated or absorb. So because again, they have to know. Security. Be smart about this stuff. One of the biggest things that I made my mistake in back in the early days was wherever I haunted a venue, I didn't buy it, because I had more money. I should have done it then. And I read a wonderful article. Please excuse me. I know that people in this room know what I'm talking about. There's a woman, I believe in the Dallas area, who owned a haunt for umpteen years. Anybody know who I'm talking about? And she has a wonderful website. And she penned a great article. But one of the things I pulled out about this article is she said, if I only knew then what I know now, of course. But she made the conscious decision to buy her venue as soon as she possibly could, and it really worked great for her. I've rented. I'm at the mercy of the owners, the landlords, and everything. So I've really worked on changing that around in my own stuff. But you have to, you might say that in your business plan, in 3 years we will turn this from strictly a rental situation or lease situation into a rent-to-own situation, depending upon if the owners are into that sort of thing or whatever else. Okay, see, they get their money from you, they don't really necessarily need you back. You want to be back generally, right? So it's good to, in that business plan, say we intend to be at this location for the next 3, 5, 7, whatever it is. Spell it all out then. Okay, so there's not surprises later on, because I've had situations where we were extremely successful somewhere, and then comes time to negotiate for the following year. Oh, guess who's holding the whole shindig? They are. They got the power then. It would have been much better back in the early days if I knew about doing a right of first refusal for the following year, or 3, or 5, or 7. Okay, again, just keep thinking. That's all. Don't you be your own limitation with this kind of stuff, okay? The health and safety, the fire. Are you going to need a fire watch? Now, sometimes you don't know going into this thing. You guys know what a fire watch is, right? Where you pay exorbitant amount of money for guys to sit around drinking coffee that they get for free from your concessions, okay? I'm sorry, any fire marshals here in the room? Cool, I love you guys. Yeah, not a big fan of, I respect fire marshals, don't get me wrong. As long as they're honest, it's the way to be. But you don't know. They may say to you, the only way that you're going to open is if you don't shoot fog, and if you hire 8 of our guys. Come on, we're partying. Okay. Anyway, so have a contingency plan just in case. If that fire marshal says, well, you're going to have to spend, I think we were spending $400 a night to have 4 guys stand there. And that's, to me, that was insane for a building that was, oh gosh, it was 2,000 square feet for our second floor. That was it. $400 just on that. So you got to put those contingencies in where they could possibly be. All right. Play devil's advocate with yourself is really what I'm saying. Right. The box office, ticketing operations, group sales. You know, one thing I never did until last year was I never did a VIP ticket before, and I've heard about it through the industry, and I'm going to try VIP tickets. At one point, we have no lines. Okay, guys are coming up because they want a date. Ego, it took 2 VIPs, but you don't have to wait in line. They bought them anyway. Like cha-ching, found money, cool beans. So make sure you put all that schedule, your ticket prices, how the splits work, everything. Right. This will lead to your contracts later. You can use your business plan as an exhibit in your contracts and highlight certain areas for the various parts of the contracts depending upon who you're dealing with. Okay. Group sales. Are you going to be doing group sales? Very interesting. How are you going to do this? What's the, you don't have to go into with a business plan per se, say, I'm going to hire HAuNTcon to do all of my ticketing. Just say an online ticket service will be provided along with our cash at the venue. And that's really, now if they need more information, they come back to you and you can provide that, okay? The other thing that you don't want to do, once you've got your business plan is your, like I said, your Bible. Don't share it. It's your secret to success. Seriously, okay? Be guarded. It's confidential. Have people sign non-disclosures to read it. Because, some of you come from small communities and the mayor is going to talk, well, without the firehouse, hey, do you ever consider doing VIP tickets? So be careful about that as well, because you're sharing your world, right? Okay. The ancillary, other attractions or whatever else. I used to do a Dunk the Dead Guy. Did very well Dunk the Dead Guy. I mentioned the Monster Maze. We get about 1/3 of attendance going through the main haunts. We'll do the Monster Maze. Great way to pick up extra money and the likes, and a lot of fun for the groups and whatever else. So you list out all the other events and attractions that you intend to have. What are you going to have any bands come in, any special performers, local celebrities, or whatever else? They like that kind of stuff. So try to include that when you can, right? It says, if you were a fine chef at a restaurant, you started off with a recipe, no matter what, okay? And that's exactly what this thing is, right? Okay, so we are, you want to list the name, the various types of games or whatever else, who they're supplied by, how much it's costing, and blah, 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 blah. That's the hardware side of things. So before we continue, does anybody have any things that maybe I forgot on this that you just want to blurt out because it's been eating you alive? Yeah.
You go about collecting demographics.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. That's a great, because you definitely want to include the demographics. Website is our friend. Yeah, I have a business partner. He's in charge of our technology, real anal guy, right? And he's every time I ask him something, he goes Google and walks away. But I mean, where Leonard Pickle is in Winter Haven, Florida, I saw a possible location, an old funeral home, 2 years ago down there, and man, it's vacant and it's calling me, Keith, come on. So I met with the owners. I went through all that kind of stuff. We had a deal, and then I went to the Chamber of Commerce because that's your solution for so much. Go to the Chamber of Commerce, introduce yourself, be really friendly with the nice ladies that work there, and everything else, and then very off the cuff, say, well, how many people reside here? And I guarantee you they have a sheet, their population estimates through the Census Bureau or whatever else. They can give you generally so many townships or cities or communities you'll find on the internet. It'll list the population, the type of income that's coming through, and growth spurts in what areas. That's really important too. And then drive-by traffic. You can go to the civil engineer within the city and ask them for a layout of. They'll go to their traffic department or whatever else, and they can give you like down to the numbers, how many people are driving by in front of your venue on a daily basis. So my personal formula is, in the immediate area, you have to have at least 75,000 in the immediate area. Winter Haven, where Leonard lives, only had 34,000, and I had to abort the whole project just because, based on that. Because I know that the neighboring communities don't drive to Winter Haven. Winter Haven will drive to the other neighboring communities, but not the other way around. Okay? And then what you do, and don't lie to yourself. I mean, you may see that perfect venue and be salivating and whatever else if you're a new hall or looking for a new venue. But don't lie to yourself, because you have to go to the shop owners next door. You have to go to the residents nearby. I always suggest before it comes up that you go to the neighbors, introduce yourself. There's kind of a chance, and feel it out a little bit. Say, do you guys like Halloween? Yeah, would you like to see more stuff around here for the township, the kids, and all that? Get a feel for that, because one year in Warminster, Pennsylvania, in '99, I went there, and the mayor said, "There's no way in hell you're haunting that old place." The neighbors would never even allow it. And I went, "Oh shit," So I went home and like, damn that, because I used to drive by there every day when I was a kid. It was operating then as an inn. Now it's vacant and haunted, and it's perfect, right? So I opened up my fortune cookie from dinner. No, it was a horoscope from the newspaper, and it said, "Don't give up, just don't wear blinders." So I literally got back in my car, drove down to the neighborhood with a clipboard, and I went from door to door. I said, if I were to do a haunted house that would benefit getting a new baseball diamond for the kids in this neighborhood, would you guys like that? It's at the old inn, and there's going to be 3 weeks of noise between 10 and about. You're going to get tickets. You're going to have a blast. And every single neighbor says, "I love that. Sure, shoot." Next morning, I'm in the mayor's office going, "Okay, what next?" Like that, And he goes, "You got a haunted house." That was the only thing and here I thought he was just trying to be a dick. He was just doing his job, protecting the neighborhood, And so I was able to put in the event description and the business plan that neighbors have already been contracted and already agreed to host our event. And so that was because that was a stumbling block. So I answered it right then and there, and it made everything else. Because that when the mayor talked about it to the media and to everybody else, the first thing was, well, what about the neighbors? Because they've always been notorious for complaining. You know what they're complaining about? The house being vacant all those years, and kids going up there and breaking in and all that kind of stuff. So we made money and solved all that problems for them as well. And so anything you can think of, and your marketing plan can be included in your business plan. Just all kinds of creative stuff. So, okay, yeah.
When you're going to bank for a loan, how much?
Did you say beg for a loan?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Go ahead.